Hello everyone, Social Coach Michael Knight here, and today we're going to be talking about how to handle people who try to make you jump through hoops. Specifically, the examples I'll be talking about today is women making men jump through hoops normally in their initial interactions together. And there's different reasons why people make you jump through hoops. One is that they legitimately just want to benefit from your willingness to do something for them. That is, they're profiting from you doing favors or spending your time and money on them. But the other reason is a lot more subtle. And this is, they make you jump through hoops is being done as a method to simply measure your compliance to do as they ask. Now, compliance is defined as your willingness to follow an order or perform a request. And the level of compliance that one person shows another communicates a lot about their relationship dynamic. This is especially true during initial interactions and when establishing first impressions, where it provides indicators on how people view each other's authority, confidence levels, sense of self-worth, etc. So let's start with the classic example of a girl you don't know comes up to you at the bar and asks you to buy her a drink. Now, if you were in a grocery store and some random guy came up to you and asked if you would buy him a jar of spaghetti sauce, you'd probably answer, no, sorry bro, not interested. However, with this girl, at the bar example, you're probably much more likely to comply with this random stranger's request. Why is this? Well, you want the pretty girl to like you, and even though you don't know her, you don't really care. But how much respect can such a girl actually have for a guy who's so willing to easily comply with her demands? How does such a guy come off looking in her eyes? Here's another example. Again, another cute girl you barely know, you've maybe met her once or twice, she asks you if you can help her to move apartments. And what are different responses you could have? Well, one response could be like, oh yeah, sure Susie, I can help you move out of your ex-boyfriend's house. I was going to visit my parents that weekend, but I can cancel on them. Do you need me to rent a moving truck on my way over? You know, really just drop everything. Just like, yeah, I'll do whatever you need. No conditions, nothing. You're just willing to drop everything and go. Or you could have a response of just being, no, sorry, I'm busy. Because you actually were busy, because you had prior plans. Or at the very least, something like, yeah, okay, all right, but you better be the one buying lunch. Or there's at least a condition to you doing something. You're just not dropping everything and making her your sole focus. Guys who do not think they're good enough for a person as they are the ones who are willing to totally go out of their way to try to earn someone's affection. However, their actions often come off as seeming like they're overcompensating. A guy who views himself and his time as valuable would not feel the need to try to buy another person's affection. And girls know this. If you were in the market to buy a car, would you rather buy the powerful V8 model that everyone else also wanted? Or would you get the 2-cylinder clunker that the salesman says comes with a free radio because no one else wants to buy it? A few minor perks are not going to fully compensate for the core deficiencies of the primary product. In both these prior two examples, there's no reason not to be a polite person. The point is, just don't be a pushover who is so easily willing to comply with zero conditions. For instance, in the buy me a drink at the bar example, if you indeed are interested in talking to the girl, you could reply by saying something like, well, let's find out if you're interesting first. Or, no, I'm afraid not, Your Majesty, but who are you? There's no reason why you can't still talk to her. But you don't need to jump through her hoop and just comply with her request to buy her a drink, especially when you've never met her before. When in doubt, ask yourself the questions, how would I respond if a complete stranger just asked me, or if it was just a friend and not someone I was romantically interested in? Compliance tests in a conversation are often much more subtle and come in the form of conversational hoops that the other person tries to get you to jump through. Again, not done for the primary purpose of getting you to do something that directly benefits them, maybe like buying them a drink or helping them move, but more as a way of testing your confidence and your character. For example, forcing you to answer personal questions about yourself that you don't want to talk about with someone you just met, or asking you to qualify yourself in some other way with your education or work, or even just simple questions like when you go up to start a conversation and they say, do you really think you're cool enough to talk to us? Do you say that to every girl? Why are you so nervous? Trying to respond logically back to unnecessary and unflattering questions like those is almost impossible to do well. And the ultimate worst thing that you could do would be to get defensive and like start arguing things back like, well, why do you think you're cool enough to talk to me? Yeah, then you just lost from the start. In these situations, it's better to use techniques such as non-shamefully agreeing back with them, reframing it, or just straight up ignoring it. Coupling these with humor and a sense of levity also goes a really long way. For example, do you really think that you're cool enough to talk to us? And just have a deadpan reply, yes, of course. Anyway, so how do you know blah 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 blah? Do you say that to every girl? And some men sometimes, and I wasn't gonna assume your gender. Anyway, blah 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 blah. You seem nervous. Well, you seem like you could be a criminal. Just kidding. Anyway, blah blah blah. You don't need to wait for them to respond to your comebacks, and often it's better not to, because your goal is not to start an argument. Your goal is just to dismiss their remarks in maybe a humorous way and move forward in the conversation. The most important thing is not to seem thrown or become reactive to such comments. When in doubt, it's best just to simply ignore them. Choose not to play a game that's being purposely set up for you to lose. The most powerful thing you can do is flip the situation around so that the other person starts qualifying themselves to you. This will clearly differentiate yourself from the majority of other people who are always going out of their way to please that person. Show them that you won't simply do or give away things for free. Making the person feel like they have earned a compliment or admiration from you makes them value it way more. Getting your phone number or having you agree to go on a date should be something that the other person feels fortunate to have acquired. Most guys' frames involve first begging a girl for her phone number and then trying to convince her over text to come out and meet him. They put themselves in a losing position from the start. Here's a winner guy's frame. A winner guy meets a girl, and instead of saying something like, well, can I have your phone number? He says something like, hey, I'll give you my phone number, but you must first promise not to abuse it. You promise? Okay, cool. It's, ready? Okay, here. Simple things like that, where you make the other person jump through even just the tiniest of hoops, are incredibly powerful. Now your phone number is not some commodity given out like an advertisement flyer on the street to everyone, but instead something that the girl has earned. The same could be said for setting up a date. When you could set up a date being like, hey, do you want to meet me here? They have really good food and it would be nice to see you again. Or you could set up a date saying something like, hey, can you dress up nice and reliably arrive places on time? You can? Okay, cool. Then let's get dinner next week. Again, the woman now feels like she had to qualify for the date. She will need to invest into the date, and she feels like she's winning because she's been selected to go on the date. This completely changes the frame in her mind, and these type of techniques will cut your rate of flaking probably at least by 50%. If you show that you have standards and boundaries rather than just automatically complying with what another person says, you're going to have a lot more success. And if you're interested in learning more specifically about the fundamental concepts behind attraction, then I highly recommend you check out my book, which is linked to in the description below. Also remember to like and subscribe, since that would be doing me a huge favor when it comes to helping me build this channel. And also consider becoming a Patreon subscriber, because the Patreon subscribers will get unlimited access to my Enhanced DQ online video course, which is also linked to in the description below. That's all for today. Until next time, ciao.